This is Hot Drop, where we bring you premier PUBG analysis and the apex of drops. I'm Dano.
I'm Cody.
And I'm John. We stream Monday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/hotdrop_podcast. Discord link and hotline number are in the show notes. Hit these up to share your thoughts with us. Our topics for today include a review of Season 4 on mobile, plus some tips and chatter from around the web, a dev team update for consoles, our feedback on a new BR game, Apex Legends, and your care package is a breakdown of the canted site and how it affects current meta. Let's get into it.
Let's. Housekeeping.
Flamp.
What are we doing for housekeeping? Oh, that's right. We just had Hot Drop Tournament number 2 on Xbox, and guess what happened? Ray won. Therefore, he is banned! Never to return on these lands.
Wait, Lance isn't LAN?
On the local area networks.
But GBA's kind of crushed it. They got, I think they went second, first, and then like sixth, or maybe it was like second, first, second, sixth. It was they had a really good showing. It was really good. I think they always topped out on kills too, so they really came to play this week, and it was a lot of fun to watch. Thanks PCD for organizing, Ross for stepping in, any of the commentators that were in there that I missed. I know Jammy helped me learn how to score. I scored it, so it was just a really good time. A lot of. Other than Thomas. Thomas was trash. Thomas camped inside the blue for most of the night. I don't know what he was doing, but he did it. You know what? He almost made top 3. Played by himself, no other players.
That's how you lose a game, boys. Let's go. Sorry, Tom.
It was a lot of fun to watch the commentators shit on Thomas, essentially, the entire time.
It was a hard day to
Tom
beat
helped us out, right?
He did.
The tournament.
As
Just
always.
shout out for him as well.
Steadfast.
It was a lot of fun.
So much fun.
So, congratulations, GBA Ban Ray.
GBA Ray Band. We also have the mobile tournament coming up. We're just a tournament powerhouse. Just cranking them out. Mobile, Feb 23 squads, $10 per person. Just did some test runs today, actually, to figure out how the emulator will work with the observer tools, and it's pretty sweet. It's going to look good. We're going to have some real nice camera angles, real nice commentary. Cody and I will be casting over it, so it's going to be a good time. I think it's a 3 p.m. start.
It is a 3 p.m. start on February 23rd. It's 3 p.m. Eastern time in America.
That's correct.
That's awesome.
And everywhere else, it might be Eastern time.
Nope, it'll never be Eastern time for those people.
Okay.
Specifically America, we're the only ones that have Eastern time.
America.
I don't know if that's a fact or not, but again, like I said earlier, I don't know if it made it into this episode, but if you say certain things that other people just haven't said, they might just believe you. So,
and lastly, for housekeeping, we're going to remove the @mentioned tags for the roles such as PC, Xbox, mobile, PS4. We've gotten a lot more complaints lately, and we feel like it's just too much to have for the size of our Discord. It was great when, there were 100 people in here, but we got too many to deal with. So we're going to take those off. Anyone who wants to play games, just pay attention to the Discord, the looking and play rooms, that kind of thing. Just message each other rather than alerting the whole Discord.
Yeah. Plus, while this kind of sucks that you guys won't be able to tag just general people looking for 1, 2, or 3. This is good news because we just topped 600 people in our Discord. And a lot of that has to do with you guys spreading the word, meeting new people, bringing them in. So we wanted to thank you all for your part in growing this community because it's pretty bitchin'.
It is. This doesn't just happen. We've said it before. This kind of community doesn't just appear out of nowhere. I mean, and it's all because of you guys. It's pretty incredible, the growth we've had. I mean, we hit 600 people earlier this week, and we're at 616 already. So we've gotten like 20 people this week, easily. So we want to encourage people to stay in the Discord and find people to play with, but it's just this size of the Discord, like you guys just said, it's just too much. It's a lot of notifications, and we don't want to discourage people and have them leave because of it.
So now that we've got housekeeping out of the way, let's jump into mobile.
Honk honk. Is that Tom in the mobile home?
Hey guys, I'm Tom.
Wait, Cody, what was your impression?
I'm just over here doing the sound effects of the mobile
I
home.
heard Cody start to do an impression.
Mine was just going to be, hi, I'm Tom. And yours is, hi, guys, I'm Tom.
It doesn't sound like that.
It doesn't sound like
Doesn't
that.
sound like it.
It really doesn't.
But as our Discord knows, or our stream viewers know, our quality of accents are not very
The best.
high.
Premier
they're
PUBG
the
analysis and premier accents. Jonathan.
best. My name, Dano.
Wait, hold on.
Oh yeah,
Eddie.
what's up?
You're not a Than. You're just John.
Just John.
Your full.
you lying?
You're given your Christian name
Christian name.
is just John.
John. Yeah, and despite my Lemon John handle, I'm a John.
He just wanted to disguise himself so nobody could find him.
Yeah, and
like,
then out myself on the internet a couple years later.
Got him.
Well, it's
This
the
was all
ultimate
the long
ruse.
con. Yeah, we just did
It's
it.
the ultimate ruse. Because 2 years from now, you're going to tell us that it was Jonathan all along.
Yeah, fuck.
My full name is actually Lemon.
Laman Huahanathan. Why did I say it like that?
Why did you?
I don't know, man.
All right, we're in
don't
this
know.
MF and mobile home, baby. Tom's
We're in
at
this
the
mobile
wheel.
home.
I'm in the back, chilling on the couch. He's pushing the button that like brings out the side panels to create a whole nother room. We got room for stuff. What do we got?
We got some mobile Vikendi tips and tricks. Most of them are just pretty generic, just
Okay,
like
that's fine though.
use white colors to blend in with the snow, which, not everyone thinks about, but it's a standard tip. Use different guns for long range versus medium and short range. There's a lot of groups of houses that you can go from loot spot to loot spot, not spending a lot of time out in the open. Use headphones to hear players before you see them, because they make louder noises when walking on the snow than before, so you can hear them from further away.
In mobile alone, footsteps are not the same. You can hear footsteps in a building like they're right next to you. Like if I'm outside of a 3-story building and somebody's on that 3rd story, it sounds like they are right next to me anyway. So it probably helps more than it would on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanted
mindful
to.
of
Sorry,
that.
go ahead, John. Go ahead.
I was just going to say headphones are like almost a must-have for pretty much any gaming like this. Like it helps so much realizing where people are, even with the jankiness surrounding the headphones sometimes in PUBG. They're pretty solid now, the footstep sounds, but
Yeah, I was also going to say the indicators, the visual indicators of sound that exists on mobile. So it helps you if you don't have a headset, but it's just a must-have. It really is. You've got to have a headset to be able to hear well. So if you don't, you can use that, and it also works for. I think I believe footsteps and gunfire are different indicators on the map. Is that right? On the mini map.
What are you saying?
On the mini map, when you
Yes.
hear someone, when someone is near you, you'll see a visual indicator on the map saying that someone's walking near you.
Oh, I never noticed that. I don't know.
And I think it does the same for gunfire, so I would have to double check that. But yeah, it helps out when you don't have full sound enabled.
Very astute observation,
Indeed.
Daniel.
Thank you.
last little tip, which is something that I didn't know personally. Dobro mesto means good spot. So go ahead and drop there for some good spot loot.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah. Next up on the list, we have a Season 4 recap. This comes from the PUBG Mobile official Discord. They posted a video doing a Season 4 recap. We've got a top 3 Vikendi landing spots. I was going to ask you to guess what the spots are without looking, but I wrote them in the document then, so I guess I can.
Let me take a guess. Abbey, Cement Factory,
Ruin it!
Villa.
Yeah, you're spot on.
Oh
would
my
guess
god, I'm so
Castle.
good. My
would guess
intuition is unmatched,
That
sir.
also didn't make it into the podcast. So yeah, Abbey, Cement Factory, and Villa are the top 3 landing spots. The barrel was was used the most. Shot
Really?
down 905,834,424 players. Was used in 169,577,000 258 chicken dinners, and
shit.
30,215,893 players died from falling damage.
Did you know that
crazy.
this game has fall damage?
Did I ever? Sometimes I'm running down a hill in Vikendi and I will just like do a little hop and I'll take like 10 points of damage. This has gotten me more than any other map. I think because it's deceptively steep. Like on Miramar, you're like, oh, I can't go over that ledge, otherwise I'll die. But some areas in Vikendi, I'll just be like hopping around because I'm annoying like that. I like to jump.
It's almost as if in Vikendi, it's like the real world where you're going down an incline and you know you might slip on the snow. But you're not totally sure. So you risk it anyway and you catch your footing, but it tweaks your ankle a bit. And then you lose 10 hit points. Yeah. And then I think, wow, I didn't realize I lived in real life and had hit points. But you do.
Yeah. And then you die instantly from a headshot, even though you have a level 3 helmet.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Just like in real life.
Yeah. Just like in real life.
The last thing for this season 4 recap is we talked about this a little bit a few episodes ago. The crew challenge champions, they get statues put up in their respective servers at the spawning areas before the map starts. Remember? Mm-hmm. Statues. So I just wanted to announce the NA and the EU ones. There are listings for Oceania, Asia, Korea, and Japan have their own separate servers, all kinds of stuff. But just the NA TPP was the KR team, NA FPP was Cloud9, EU TPP is Legion, and EU FPP Extra Quality. So those are the crew challenge champions for season 4, and I believe they will get a statue erected in the spawn areas.
Nice. I fully expect the HOTDROP crew to be up there next season. So keep grinding.
But I also,
so sick.
I also expect that one of you in our Discord / listening to this podcast make me a statue.
His lordship demands it.
Yeah.
Yo, Nito.
Also, the other cool thing I realized about this is that Cloud9 has a crew. Yeah, so they're supporting PUBG Mobile. For anyone who doesn't think that mobile is a legit esport, like Cloud9 is like one of the biggest esport companies in NA. So they're on board with the mobile business.
Yeah. Very cool.
Also, there's more promotion of the Resident Evil 2 crossover event. There's still zombies and stuff in the arcade mode popping up that you can kill for loot and that kind of cool stuff.
Nice. You know what's weird is like for this, I'm like, man, that's really cool. Resident Evil 2 crossover. And then I think like PS4 just announced that you get the Harley Quinn and Joker costume pack. And I'm like, fuck them. I don't want it.
Yeah, but Tencent is just way better at getting those like crossover promo deals.
Yeah. That's what happens when you're the biggest gaming company on the planet. You can buy whatever you want.
Yeah. What was that stat in Discord? They took like 120 billion market share decrease, and they were still in the top 5.
Ridiculous.
Freaking nuts. And then the rest of the stuff that we have for mobile, I didn't see any patch notes or updates coming soon. So all we have now is information from the community. Multiple posts complaining about skins coming out on mobile, whereas people are still experiencing desync. They want server optimization as priority over adding in skins. I see this comment a lot. I saw it in like H1Z1 King of the Kill. See it in PUBG, see it in PUBG Mobile. People don't realize those are different departments. Like they're not the same people making the skins as debugging the frickin' server code. Like this is having those two things, like thinking that you can only do one or the other is kind of ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Now, I agree the focus should be on gameplay, but also you have to realize that the skins that's how they make money. So to keep this game afloat, they do have to keep putting out skins. Granted, they are probably making plenty of money already. However, they're not siphoning resources from their dev team to make skin. That's not how it works.
Exactly. Yep.
I also spotted another post about a guy. I don't know if it's a guy, a player using an SKS with a vert grip, and it's pretty freaking effective at close range with a red dot. I don't know if either of you saw the video, but basically just tap a lot, and it doesn't seem to bounce very much. The shot, it's almost as if the shot registers before the recoil happens.
I felt really comfortable using the SKS when I played mobile. It felt like I had more control over that than most things.
And I would kind of say the same thing even on PC. The SKS close range is doable. You can tap really fast, and it's not that high recoil. It looks like it should be. Yeah, and I think it's the same kind of thing in this video. Like, it feels like you should be having a higher recoil, but it's almost like not in sync with the animation of the bounce.
Well, you see him put like a 4x on it later and tap somebody from far away, and they actually like tap it, and it bounces more than when they were using the red dot up close. And I think it's just like literally the speed of it, and because it's close range, you can just fire it off. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the gun on PC, especially now playing Vikendi, where DMRs are king.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out.
And so hard to find.
Saw another post talking about winning versus, or how they play for fun versus winning. Kind of just how we've talked about the game, really, is like, we don't necessarily try hard for wins. We like the winning, obviously, and we get discouraged when we don't win a lot, but that's just because of how much time we put in the game. But really, our main goal is having fun. Like, our last stream was amazing. We didn't get any wins, but we were just having fun the whole time. Mm-hmm. So I think as long as like you're playing with people that you are like having fun with and able to have like a nice chill night, that's really what it's all about, right?
Yep.
That is what it's all about, John.
That's why we do this.
That's true.
That's true.
The top comment in that thread is someone saying they stopped playing because of the endless clickathon that they have. Like, when you log in, there's so many things to redeem, so they kind of... It's just kind of a mobile game trend, I think, is to give you all of these things you have to redeem and keep you in the menus and get you looking at the skins and get you looking at the pass to purchase. But really what it's all about is like, you can ignore that stuff. Like, that's not, it doesn't stop you from enjoying the game. It doesn't stop you from having fun with your friends. So that the person sums up their comment by saying, you know, they just get on, they play a few games with their friends, they have fun, they get off. That's kind of like what a mobile game is for me as well. It's just the ability to get on quick when I want to. So, it is. We've talked about it before. It is a little excessive with all the menus that you have to go through, but it's almost satisfying. Like, it does prey on this one thing in your brain that's like, oh, I just want to clean that up and like redeem everything I possibly can. Because I found myself doing it, and I wasn't even sure what I was redeeming.
Yeah,
but it can kind of get in the way a little bit.
That's what bothers me most about it, though, is I don't know what I'm redeeming.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what I can do with the things that I redeem.
It's an engagement strategy for sure. It's like, get people to click on things so that they're more likely to feel invested into the game. I think it's pretty basic, like human psychology, right? Yeah. Like, get them invested, and then they're more likely to play your game. It doesn't always work, obviously, and there's a balance to it, but I think people more used to mobile games will be more used to that, seeing that happen.
Yep. Right. But it's nice seeing the majority of people in this thread. It's actually a pretty popular thread, interesting to read through. Everyone seems to say, like, we just play for fun. Like, if I drop a rank or I drop a tier, it's not the end of the world. So I like that mindset. We have a similar mindset, I think.
Yeah, and we've seen people in Discord who have cared more about rank, kind of like chill out with that. Like, they still are like great at the game and want to be better, but they don't have to. Every game isn't like the, I really need to push this forward type of mentality. And they've said that they like have chilled out playing the game and enjoy it much more of the time now than they used to.
Yeah. Yep.
Next up, there was a thread that posted the title as Unpopular Opinion Changed My Mind. Winning doesn't mean anything really. It's mostly depending on luck more than how good you are. Winning fights depends on how good you are. Therefore, more kills shows that you have more skill. Consider this. You only need one kill to win a match versus 10 kills to get a 10 kill game. So I kind of just wanted to discuss this concept with you two because it's kind of interesting. He's not wrong, but I also don't think he's taking in the full picture.
Right. My first take on the whole thought is that's focusing on one area of skill. Kills is one area of skill.
Yes.
I think that you can win games, and winning does matter on how good you are, but if you're just assuming that the best way and only way is to get a bunch of kills to win, that's incorrect.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's also this assumption that, like, the fact that there is one kill, like that one kill, meaning the same as all the other kills, there's so much mental pressure on that last kill. Like, it not always, but getting that last kill is inherently the hardest kill because, or it's at least the most valuable kill because it's the last kill of the game.
You can get 13 kills all day and get second place to my one.
Yeah.
Not me specifically. I'm garbage.
No, you'll get that one kill. You're good.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, it's how did I want to word this? It's also a different value judgment, like winning versus getting kills. Like, we like getting kills, we also like getting wins. So it's a balance. It's not like one is skillful and one is not. As Cody stated, they're both different, like, skill set. No, not necessarily different, but they're overlapping skill sets.
Mm. Yeah, what I was going to say is the same kind of thing. It's like, I think I like winning the most because it gives you the satisfaction and the release of being like all that pent up adrenaline, and you're just finally like, oh, we did it. But I also love getting kills because in this game it's tough to get kills. Like, you have to be very good with the weapons. They're not easy. It's not point and click unless you're point and click dead. But I also think that the reason this game is so successful and so popular is because you can play and you can win with that one kill, or sometimes 0 kills. Like, people can die to the blue in the end and you win. And so that gives you all of the different options of how you want to play. So if you're not someone who's really good at Twitch shooters, and if you have more fun outsmarting people and, like, hiding in houses and just outwitting them, outlasting them,
out-positioning.
That's a very legit way to play the game, and it's something that caters to a wide variety of people and a wide variety of play styles.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about this game is it uses both. Like, you need those survival instincts, those strategy instincts to consistently place. And that's, I think, where this poster gets the information wrong, is it's not all luck getting to the end and winning that. And if you have that strategy in mind, getting there is a consistent thing. I used to bring up how I didn't think it was like a viable esport because of the randomness involved. But this is exactly the type of thing that happens in, like, poker tournaments or Hearthstone or other RNG based random games, competitive games, which was brought up by members of our Discord. Shout out to Clay for changing my mind about this. But yeah, like, you have to work with strategies to play your randomness, right? Like, you might not get the same gear or the same circle or anything like that, but you still have strategies around what you do have in order to make it more likely for you to make it to the end and win. And then it's up to your skill to kind of close it out.
That Clay's a real smart guy.
We should have him on the show sometime, maybe.
Yeah.
Smart dude.
I don't think he wants anyone to acknowledge his genius. He just wants to be a silent wizard genius who just makes us all look like noobs.
I definitely don't think he wants to get hunted during our community nights anymore.
No, yeah. We should probably tone that down a little bit. Sorry, man. But I'll be on your team anytime you want. One more thing about this, unless you were going to expand on that comment. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, I was going to move on to next points, but feel free to.
Yeah, one last thing real quick. Yeah. Someone mentioned, and I agree with them completely, because this is how we do our streams. Someone says, I enjoyed the game a lot more when I stopped trying to win every match.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to have a lot of fun. It's you just stop trying to win, you go for every airdrop, you go for all the stupid fights, you turn around and like try to take someone out if you drive past them and they shoot you. Like you chase bullets, like you just do whatever the hell you want.
Of the town.
Yeah, you just like open fire, like try to bring people towards you. Like there's all these different things you can try to do to have fun, and it doesn't winning is great, but it's the journey. It's getting there. It's like having fun with your friends along the way. Like it really is. It really is. Like the ridiculousness that happens in this game, like wouldn't always happen if people were focused solely on winning every single time. And I think that's what makes the game great.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to just bring up about this is I saw in the comments that like certain things are luck, and they just defined like an action as pure luck. And that frustrated me because there's always that skill element of positioning, of your shooting, of being able to avoid other people. Like there's a lot of strategy that goes into every part of this game, which is why it's so fun. So like people saying that like camping or early game kills aren't skill, it's all luck. And while part of it is luck based, like finding the right loot when you hit the ground, but it's your ability to use your environment, basically use what you get, that survival aspect, to get that win, to outlast, as you said.
It's manipulating the variables that you have, and like there's always the element of luck, but that's a small piece. I would agree with that completely.
So like for me, losing doesn't make me mad in this game. The places where I get frustrated is when I've made bad decisions or performed poorly in like an advantageous situation. That's when I get upset, when I'm like, I should have had that kill. Not when I'm like completely outclassed. Like when I get two tapped by somebody, I'm like, well, not much I can do about that. They just like took my head off. But like, or like if I go into an early fight without a helmet, I'm like, yeah, they can just tap me in the head and I'm gone. But it's frustrating when I have the jump on somebody and they're able to clutch out a win. That kind of thing.
That's actually one of the things why it's fun for me to play Xbox and mobile as well, because I don't expect to get the kill every time. I'm actually like surprised by myself when I do, and it feels like such an accomplishment. I've said this before, and I'll say it again here because I think it applies. It's just like the pressure that you put on yourself to perform is, for me, less on those console or those platforms, because it's just I expect to get the win or expect to get the kill every time on PC. Yeah.
So yeah, to close this out, I'm not saying that anyone who says kills are better than wins, or the opposite, wins are better than kills, is wrong. It's just totally a value judgment based on what your goal is. Yes. So like, as long as you basically are aligned with your squad mates, if you're playing in a squad, then it's totally good. However you want to play this game.
Yeah. Nice. I like this thread. This was a good one to bring up. Thanks for that.
Yeah, there was a lot of info there. It's cool.
Sweet.
Going to space?
Let's do it. Station X. The patch is out there. Okay, so this is a small Station X for its first launch. However, I think it's a fairly important one to talk about because we are now 3 weeks into a no real dev letter. This is a dev team update, people. This is not a dev letter. I won't accept it. It came on Reddit, which made me a little grumpy. But it writes...
Is that your new segment? A little grumpy?
A little grumpy. It says, over the last few weeks, many of our players have been experiencing performance issues on the new map, Vikendi. Specifically, players are experiencing long rendering and loading times, or vehicles flying and or falling through the map. We know these issues in particular have been a big pain points. Wait, what? Have been big pain points? Who writes like this? For the community, and we're sorry for any frustration caused by them. We'd like to take some time today to explain why these issues are happening and what we're doing to fix them. So going into this, the first thing, they've sectioned this off into 3 separate talking points. And the first one is rendering and loading. And they go into a little bit of technical speak here to explain what the problems are and why the problems are. So with rendering and loading, they're saying that it's comprised of static mesh and material textures used are larger than other maps. What it really means is that loading times are longer because they have so many more textures than they've had on any other map to make it more realistic. And then they keep adding these optimizations to reduce the loading time, but it's not really getting a whole lot better as of now. And they have plans in place to make those better. What I have noticed watching anybody stream or play is you will constantly just see loading things around you. You'll be running through a town and things will still be loading around you as you continually go. So it's loading things around you, not in total. Just like we've talked about in PC, right? They're not rendering things that are 1,000 meters away.
Right.
Unless you have a scope that's looking 1,000 meters away.
Mm-hmm.
But with this, it's taking longer because of the processing power and the load that it's taking on the servers.
This is crazy to me that Miramar was like a rough time for them, right? Yeah. And then they went and loaded up more materials / textures on the map, and we're like, I hope this works.
Yeah, like, oh man, this is a really nice map. Let's just hope it's not as bad as Miramar was.
Yeah,
we'll put in more detail.
I don't get that. You should plan your game based on the resources that you are available to you, not what you want the map to look like, right? It doesn't matter what the map looks like fully loaded if nobody can fully load it.
Exactly.
You guys planted the seed for me, and I'm like fully convinced now that they're just waiting for the next gen consoles for this to run.
Yeah.
I don't think
Who
I don't
said
think
that?
It's possible.
The patch is out there.
I don't think it's possible. I think they're out of horsepower to run this thing.
Yeah. And so what they do is they keep going into this discussion about why it's not working and explaining it. And it makes sense, but there's no logic to why they're doing it. So they start to talk about the loading queue and the texture loading. And essentially what it does is it prioritizes specific things to load in first.
Which you have to.
Yes, right. But they're not prioritizing weapons or gear first. They're prioritizing ground textures.
That's good, though, because if you don't have ground, you'll fall through the map.
No. If it's not the ground physically. The ground physically is mostly there, with the exception of our next talking point. Physically, the ground is there.
Okay.
Texturally, it is not. So it won't look like grass, but you're standing on grass.
Right, okay, yeah, because it's just like the smooth, like, smeared chocolate.
And then it essentially works its way up. So from ground to ceiling on things that it is loading in. Lastly being clothing, gear, and otherwise.
Okay.
Which seems like the reverse to me. I would like to land in a weird Play-Doh place where I can see my guns and shit.
Yeah.
Bring the grass later.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, in addition, since Vikendi was designed to have many small villages, the size and position of the grid that they designed became different from the existing maps, causing many borders to overlap. And so now...
To clarify this is how the grid is how they load the different sections of the map. So if you're in a place where the overlapping grids, it'll load two of these kind of nodules.
Or it will try to do these at the same time.
Exactly. It'll queue them up to be loaded. Yeah.
But it's not in the right order, and it can't handle the load of two things doing it once. So you have this overlap of things trying to be rendered out at the same time.
Right. Which
causes you more problems. And so they're calling them... hitches, even though I think they're pretty frequent. So they decided to divide it into smaller sections to reduce the amount of data and boosted the loading speed. However, if a player covers a long distance too fast, they can incur larger loading tasks. I would like to move on to our next point. Flying and falling vehicles. So part of this issue... And the reason that it was noticed is in vehicles, when you're moving too fast, you essentially start to warp through time and you aren't in a map anymore. You are in the underworld or some other shit like that. Mm-hmm. And They start to say this caused by the level of detail, LOD, 0, not being loaded in the area where the player is positioned. This can technically happen on any map. However, they seem to have it more frequently on this map. I noticed it a lot in Miramar too, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. That was for, like, we saw the falling cars, like they would fall through the road, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So essentially, you're moving too fast for anything to catch up with you, and you will either fall through the map and fly through the underworld map, or you will end up becoming a flying car because it doesn't know where you are, essentially, is what I'm gathering. The game has no idea where you are, but then at some point when you slow down, it's gonna catch up. And you might not like where you are at that point.
Like inside a room you can't get out of.
Correct.
So
in the middle of a fight that you didn't want to be in.
So basically, this is happening because there are so many grids, so it's queuing up all these grids that you're passing through as you're going by really quickly, and then it will eventually load everything, but because this queue is so backlogged, it doesn't know where you are, it doesn't know where to put you, so you can fall through the map or start flying and end up in weird locations.
Yes. So we have these two things that they've addressed, right? On to the third part. They're working on it.
Cool.
Ask me if they know when.
Do they know when?
They don't know when.
Okay.
But they're going to tell us, when they find out information.
Maybe in a dev letter?
Perhaps.
A bi-weekly one, maybe?
Bi-weekly dev letter. But until then, it's kind of up in the air. So
until then, don't drive.
Yeah. So, Dan, could you just, play that sound clip for me?
I'd really like to talk about how dumb as hell that is.
Dumb as hell.
You're so dumb. Really dumb. For real. Dumb as hell.
What the hell? Let's not give us a bi-weekly update letter. Let's post a dev team post on Reddit of all fucking places and tell us, remember that time where you guys are in Play-Doh land? When you drive and all of a sudden you're falling through a map or flying like chitty chitty bang bang. It's bullshit to me. How can... People have waited for a very, 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 very long time to play this new map, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they're essentially saying now is, hey, thanks for playing our game and waiting patiently. Rendering and other bad shit is caused by a metric shit ton of textures. You're welcome for making a very detailed map. Also, hey guys, I know things aren't loading in as fast for you, but if you could just run slower on Vikendi, you won't have any problems. You know what? Okay, guys, I know that you're landing and you're really excited to get some weapons and gear, but ground comes first. We need you to see the grass that you're landing on. And all your other shit will come first. Deal with it! Just deal with it! So, if you like being chitty chitty bang bang, you got it. If not, suck it! Dumb as hell!
They thank us for our patience, though.
They can keep it.
Thank you. Thank you, console players. For being
Zero people have ever described me as a patient man.
That's a tough problem.
It's very tough. That's why I'm saying, I don't think they can do it. I don't think what they're trying to do is possible on current gen consoles.
So I wonder if there's a way to segment. So they say they grid areas. I wonder if there's a way to group the gridded segments to get at least the LOD 0 so that there's ground.
Yeah.
To load into areas depending on your speed. So if you're moving fast enough, then it will just batch these large ground textures rather than trying to load super detailed everything so that you won't get backed up in this big queue. But that also, I don't know, because that's a larger amount of area to load. So it would take longer to finish each section. So I don't know. I don't know how I would fix this. But I'm not
a
an
tech whiz
application.
and I do not know how to fix it. So,
but hopefully they can figure something else out to get this working. Because that's a pretty frustrating and consistent like bug.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a different engine. I mean, like, yeah.
I think that they'll have to work, like, I don't know. We've seen they got Miramar working, right?
Yeah. Too bad the map sucks and everyone hates it.
But yeah, I think they'll figure out something. It just sucks that it's coming so late on a patch versus like when it's releasing the map.
Yeah, that's my complaint. It's like figure it out before
they never
you launch
drive.
it. Yeah,
They
right.
never drove on the map.
It's like, how did you test this? Like, it's not playable at times. Like, not all the time. You can play it, but there's definitely some problems early game. They've had to know they were there.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one to read.
A lot more time.
It's tough as hell.
Man.
All right. Well, let's take that and let's set it to the side here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let's just move into our next segment.
Sure.
Care package.
Care package on the way.
This week's care package is all about a new attachment on your weapons. Almost all weapons take this. It's called the canted sight, and it goes onto your ARs, except for a couple of them. The M16, one of them, does not go on the Car 98. It does go on most SMGs. So it is a way to equip essentially what is a red dot as a secondary sight. So it gives you a lot more flexibility, and I think John thinks and Cody thinks that this is going to give you a lot more decisions to make, and it is going to potentially change up the meta of the AR SMG or AR sniper combo. And how will it do that is what we'll talk about.
I dub it a game changer.
Mm-hmm. Why is it a game changer?
You can choose to make, like, you can choose to use it, or you can choose to ignore it and play your game the same way. But I think enough people are going to be using this canted sight where it's going to change their loadouts for good.
Just a quick correction: the Car 98 does use the canted. I think I'm not sure if all the snipers do, but the Car 98 does.
Oh, cool. Okay, my bad.
No
I
worries.
think we had this conversation once before where it's going to give you the ability to... I've actually been getting a little more ballsy and putting a 3X on my SMGs from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Then if I can throw a canted sight, a 3X on that, and then a 3 and a 6 or whatever else on my long-range weapon, all of a sudden I have two different weapons for medium range and one for close range and one for long range.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to worry about picking up the wrong weapon eventually.
Yeah.
So you can throw a 4X on an M4, a 2X on a 4X on an M4 and a canted sight, or a 2X on the ump and a canted sight, and all of a sudden you have all ranges, right? You've got everything that you would need.
Right. So this is, I don't know if we really explained this, right? It's a new slot, right?
Right.
Yes.
With a red dot off to basically the side of the weapon. So you can put a scope and then a canted sight on it so that you have a red dot for close range. Keybind on PC to switch which sight to bring up is Alt plus right click. So you can hold as you're running or whatever, you can hold Alt, click, right click, and it'll switch which sight is being used. And it'll automatically bring up whichever one for the next ADS.
Right. And you know, because your weapon is tilted slightly, if it's tilted, you'll know you're going to bring up the canted sight.
It's noticeable enough where you're going to know what you're on.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And based on their comments, all spray patterns, recoil, everything should still be the same with the canted sight. It's purely just close range versus long range sight. I mean, you could throw a hollow on it and have it canted, but for the most part, that wouldn't make sense, I think.
Yeah.
The real cool thing about this is you can have like your long range, as Cody was saying, with a short range still. Mm-hmm. The problem with this is if you aren't good at single tapping while you're on auto, right? Because then you're not just using the keybind to switch sights. You also have to switch which fire mode. And then next time when you want to switch back, you have to switch everything again.
That's a good
little
point.
complex.
Yeah.
Because
It's a
I
little
kept
complex.
switching. I'm not good at one tapping on an auto. So I keep switching it, but it's only when I know that I can. Right?
Yeah.
So if I have my ump in this M4 in the same scenario and I wanted to
Right.
spray with my M4, chances are I'm just going to go back to my ump because I know that's on auto.
Yes. So that's kind of the point that I was trying to make in this document, which is how much will this really change the meta? Like, is it more valuable than just having your default short range weapon? I think there are scenarios where it's helpful, especially if you can't find like a solid backup gun or you're getting to the late game where your SMG just doesn't do the damage against the level 3 targets as easily. And I think it's especially good for people who have that control over the auto, can single fire with it from long range or control the recoil at long range, and then up close you can just quick swap to the canted.
Yeah.
The other thing I think I've been rethinking my keybinds. I was using alt right click since that was the default, but I think I want to switch it to a mouse button so that it's just way easier to switch back and forth between the two.
I'm running out of mouse buttons.
Yeah,
We'll
me
see.
too.
I use one for auto run, and then theoretically, if you learn how to like single tap with the spray, like you won't have to switch fire modes because we have that default setting now. So you just set all guns to auto, learn how to single tap with auto on, and then you only need one of your mouse buttons, right?
Oh, I don't have that set to...
Yeah, I still have
Auto.
my AR set to single. Yeah.
So
I'll
yeah,
have to
that's
test
a
that.
that's a new gameplay setting for everybody. There's a default fire mode. If you scroll down, it's kind of far down in the list. There's a default fire mode for a bunch of the weapon types: DMRs, SMGs, auto or rifles, and then is that it? Pistols, maybe? I don't remember.
Yeah,
Some
there's an
pistols,
auto fire
maybe.
for pistols.
Yeah. So they're switching. So I think it would be really helpful because then you can just focus on one gun, have one button to switch, and it's faster to switch that than switching to your other gun, to your secondary, right?
Yeah.
We've always talked about how slow it is to switch to your secondary. Most of the times that doesn't matter, but if you get caught off guard, having that mouse button where you can just click it and then bring up ADS,
Yeah.
I think will be really useful.
That's a really good way to think of it. I haven't really thought of it that way because I would always think like I'm running towards an engagement. I'm moving. So my typical loadout would be an AR, hopefully an M4. That's my ideal AR. And then I've got a 4X on it, and then I have a canted sight. So I would be running single fire on my 4X, and then I would be on auto fire when I switch over to my canted. But it's like you're saying, it's so many buttons to click and so many things to like micromanage as you're trying to see where the enemy is that I've tripped myself up a couple times. But I have a feeling it's just going to be something I'm going to get better with over time.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just not very good. But I think that I need to change the keybind. I think the alt click is like an extra keystroke that throws me off because I'm also using alt for free look.
Free look. Yeah, because you play third person.
Right. So, yeah, I think like that is something that I want to try to do and that I have been trying to do, but I've also realized, like you're saying, is like, why don't I just switch to my secondary? Like there's very few times where I don't have a decent secondary because you're going to find the SMGs quicker, and I usually go towards the Vector. Or if it's not the Vector, like maybe if I'm feeling squirrely, I'll get a shotgun, in which case I would switch to that up close anyway. So, like, and you don't always find the canted sight. So,
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's a great attachment. It's cool and it gives you more options, but I personally don't think it's very effective on an SMG because I won't put a range scope on an SMG. So it's almost like having two red dots. I do think it's effective on ARs, but I would probably still switch to my sidearm or my secondary when I'm going in close because I don't want to fumble over those keystrokes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think having the switch it to a mouse button, and I think getting used to single tapping with auto, and then this was like a sick attachment for your gun because then you're like, you get super powered basically.
Yeah.
The one place where I think it's actually pretty cool, which might be more viable now, is Sniper. Sniper on Vikendi. I used to talk about how like this was like a week or two ago.
Back when I was a young lad.
We've been discussing how DMRs are more effective on Vikendi because of the prevalence of level 3 helmets, right?
Yeah.
You can headshot them and then follow up with like two bodies or another headshot really quickly with the DMR. Whereas a sniper, you have to, cock that bolt and then re-aim. By that time, they're probably in cover. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they're running side to side and it's harder to hit them. So you got one shot to do it. So now it might be more viable for like using a sniper. Your close range will be your like M4, as you like, Dan, but you have a 4X and a canted on it, so you can quick switch to your M4 with that long range on it to be able to pop off a couple of bodies after you headshot them with the sniper. Mm-hmm. That might be an option as like a non-looted man's DMR. Yeah. So I mean, it's tough because then you have to find 2 scopes and a canted to make that work. Mm-hmm. But and I'm not sure if you like how often that would be better than just using that M4. Mm-hmm. I think if you're using a level 3 helmet, it's still better to headshot them with a sniper and then take the M4 out.
A couple things I just thought of when you're saying that is going back to our previous conversation about the SKS up close and the bounce, like with a red dot. Maybe it's very effective on DMRs that can take it.
Could be.
So now, because I'm thinking like, all right, I've got my sniper, and I'm probably not going to put a canted on a sniper on a bolt action. So then if I've got an M4 as a backup, my problem is, like, I would think right now, probably want to put my canted on my AR. However, what if I put it on my DMR and had my AR be my close range all the time? Because think about this. You're running towards a fight. You're at long range right now. So you are using your DMR with a 4X or a 6X. It's got the canted on it. Yeah. If I have my canted on my AR instead, as I run towards the fight, I switch to my AR, but then it's still on my 4X that my AR has. And then, so now I have to switch my fire mode, and then I have to switch to my other canted sight. Right. So I have to go on auto with my AR, with my canted, and then it's just like way too much to micromanage. It's way too much.
Yeah, so instead you charge up with the SKS with the 4X and a canted sight on it, and then you can tap people with the canted.
Up close, yeah. So an SKS with an extended gives you 20 rounds. With a red dot, you can take out someone up close easily with that.
Oh, yeah. You don't need 20 rounds for that.
I do.
No. I've seen you kill people with SKS. Don't believe his lies.
So I think my main point here is, like, you've sort of swayed me into trying it with a DMR, which is something I wouldn't have thought. Because I would have just thought, okay, up close, and a DMR is not that great. I would probably want something with auto fire. But it's just too many things to try to remember to switch when you're under fire, or suddenly someone else pops up and starts shooting you from the right side that you didn't even realize was there. Yes. And now you're like, I don't know what to do. Everything is out of whack. So
quick switch your sight, and then boom, start blasting at them. Yeah.
With the DMR close range.
Honestly, this kind of like thinking on the fly reminds me of like RTSs. I'm terrible at StarCraft. I've only really played the campaign. I love watching the tournaments, but StarCraft 2, but the amount of like mental headspace I was trying to use as I was getting used to this gun, it was like, switch to this weapon, switch it to the canted sight, switch fire modes. Okay, I'm getting closer, switch back to my close range weapon. Like it was a lot to deal with. So I think while that is pretty fun to get used to, and I was getting used to it by the end, kind of doing it automatically as I was getting close to somebody, I would switch back. But yeah, I think the key is like get used to, this is my tip for people who want to use the canted sight. Put that scope on, put the canted on, just whatever rifle you like. I prefer the barrel. Get used to single tapping while on auto. Switch the keybind from alt right click to something more, one buttony, something that's really easy to hit. And then I think it's a pretty viable option. I think it'll be a pretty good addition to the game.
I saw this guy on Reddit who thought he was so smart. What he did was take a canted sight keybind and make it the same as fire selector. So when you switch it, it doesn't work, because if you switch to canted, it would switch it back to auto. But yeah, the weapons with the burst totally ruins that whole thing.
It's really messed up.
Yeah. It was like I saw that and I almost reported on it until I like scrolled down in the comments and was like, oh yeah, people are saying this isn't going to work because there's no possibility of burst fire being something that will make it work. So yeah. But yeah, you've just given me a new idea. I'm going to try it on, use more DMRs, and I'm going to try it on my DMR next time.
Nice.
DMRs are sick, but they don't exist on Vikendi.
That's true. And I've just thought of the ultimate weapon to put a canted sight on. The MK14. Because it has auto-fire.
It'd be nuts.
4x or 6x plus canted. Switch between auto and tap.
See, I figured you'd be on the ump board since you like that VSS. Just put a suppressor on an ump with a 4x and a canted, and you've got like your close range, your long range. You're golden.
And the ump, the 4x on the ump gives you that sweet crosshair reticle.
Yeah. Dude, the VSS on Vikendi is nuts.
So
I hate that gun on Vikendi. It's impossible to see him.
Yeah. Yeah, let's play with this a little more and see what we think and report back, because I'd like to try this. It sucks that we don't get it enough. Like, you don't get a canted every single game.
Oh, I feel like I find him pretty regular. I mean, I slap him on everything I have because I was trying to get used to it to see how I felt like it changed my how I approach the game. Mm-hmm. So I've definitely been grabbing him anytime I see him.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
PCP?
PCP.
Love it.
Horn.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll follow me, we are now entering the personal computer place.
Blaze it.
PCP!
All right, kicking this off real quick. A couple corrections. Our loyal viewers and listeners have corrected us, mostly me, just me. I said that the boats do not have boost last episode, but according to Matt Von Doom and the game itself, because he is correct, boats do in fact have boost. You'll get 10 kilometers per hour more, roughly.
And I like how he says it as if he's now doing the math himself.
Yeah.
And not reading. He goes, 10-ish kilometers.
Yeah, 10 kilometers.
Yeah, 10. Cody's our numbers guy. Please leave all numbers calculations to Cody, as you know.
I also liked how he said the game like it was in quotes. That was my favorite part.
I said that, not him, but
Yeah,
just making sure. Good for sharp turns.
You gave me credit.
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't want to put words in his mouth.
Yeah.
This is for
Can
me.
put food in my mouth.
I just did.
All right.
Anyway, good for sharp turns when you're turning with the boost. Also, it works with jet ski, aka the Sperry, aka the shoe, because it kind of looks like a Dutch clog, so we call it a shoe, and then it turned into boat shoe, and then it turned into Sperry because they are the #1 most popular boat shoe brand in the United States. I just made up that fact. So every time you see jet ski, it's a Sperry, friend of the show.
Mm-hmm. Sperry. So I just actually realized that I don't have Sperry's, but I do have boat shoes that I wore a lot in college, and I realized they are my most used and still intact shoe.
Wow.
Very
high quality shoe.
7 years or something ridiculous like that. I got them 6 or 7 years ago, and they're still very wearable.
How they smelling?
I don't stick my nose down there.
Do you put socks on before you put them on your foot?
I always wore socks with them.
Good man.
Yeah.
And lastly, we have PUBG.report. We talked about that tool last week. It lets you see if a streamer killed you or you killed a streamer, and then it'll clip that. That's only available on PC right now, so just a heads up. But it is a really fun thing. I hope they bring it to Xbox.
It's cool.
Okay. Cool. Real stuff, good stuff, new stuff. PUBG has won by a user community vote Steam's 2018 Game of the Year award.
What?
So much for all those mixed reviews on Steam, eh?
Yeah, right? It's no surprise for me, just the pure number of players.
Totally.
Records were crushed, broken, and destroyed. I had a small stroke there as I said that.
He was looking at all the records that died, and he was just shaking,
just mourning them all. I was also stretching at the same time. Yeah, just crazy. So many players, so many concurrent players, more than 3 million at a time, and it is the 2018 Game of the Year.
That's
PUBG
awesome.
is also now showing banned people on your notification feed, on your kill feed, which is something we noticed last night. John called that out, and then I saw it in a Reddit thread, so I wanted to bring it up. You'll only see notifications for people in your match that were banned, and they also stay in the world, so we watched the guy that was banned also get taken out by the blue zone because it disconnected him immediately. So that's pretty sweet. I love that gratification of seeing those idiot cheaters get just crushed and then broadcast to everyone.
Get sucked on XXXYYY.
Yeah.
Calling you out.
Boom. Hot tips from Clay. Up in his knowledge bank. Clay had a really good tip that he shared with us in the gameplay tips and tricks room. And by the way, if you have any gameplay tips or tricks that you would like to share with us, we have a Discord, link in show notes, where you can share that with us.
What?
Clay he's just a mastermind of keybinds because he doesn't change seats in the vehicles with control plus 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the standard keybind. Instead, because you have a different set of controls available to you that you can bind other things over your normal keys, he did driver's seat is W or shift plus W. Shotgun seat, so your passenger seat, is E or shift plus E. And then so on and so forth down the line. You've got Q or shift Q for behind driver, X, shift X behind shotgun. The reason he does this is that he can immediately start driving from any position in the car. So if he's on the passenger side of the car and he can only access the car by going in through the back door, he can press W and it immediately puts him in the driver's seat and starts driving at the same time. So this is like next level keybind strategy right here. It's really cool. I never even would consider this, but it makes it so you never fumble with your keys. You never get in the back seat and then have to go control 1. And then of course it doesn't register that. So you have to hit it like 3 times and then you're taking fire and then you can't move and you're dead because of that. Clay eliminated all that problem just by changing the keybind. So that is a hot tip for you today. And I will change this immediately upon the next game I play.
Also, the other part of that tip is the fact that you're holding shift makes sure that you're hitting turbo the whole time.
Yes, exactly. It makes for faster getaways as well.
Another vehicle tip from Clay. Thanks for dropping these out. If you punch or shoot out the sidecar tire of the trike, it becomes less bouncy. You lose barely any top speed, and it's way easier to handle.
This is just blowing my mind.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's crazy. So shout out to Clay once again for keeping us down.
Making us look like chumps.
Mm-hmm.
Chumpity chumps.
One more thought was Moonlight. How are we guys feeling about Vikendi Aurora Borealis these days?
I like it. It just doesn't do anything.
It's just
so the thing
visual.
it does. Yeah, the thing for me is I get really bad light sensitivity, so I wear like these blue light blocking glasses so I don't get headache. When I play video games. I also use them at the movie theater. There was a big discussion about it. There's a few different brands you can get, but they're very helpful if you're staring at a screen all day. It doesn't hurt my eyes nearly as much when Moonlight is on versus just the blinding white, like snow blind Vikendi. Mm-hmm. So personally, I'm a fan. Clay also mentioned that he likes that you can see his red dot or hollow reticle against the snow in night mode, because in daytime it's really difficult to keep your eye on that.
Especially the
too bright.
red dot. Like, you know how you have the different reticles you can choose from on the red dot? If you just pick the dot, it's like, no way. No way can you see that against the snow.
I actually remember I had a battle on Erangel. It was like a 1v2 situation, and I peeked around a corner that the angle was weird. The enemy was up above me at the end of a fence line, and I was basically looking right into the sun, completely lost my red dot reticle. In the sun. So it's true. It's really hard to see when it's super bright.
Yeah. That's a plus for night mode. Definitely.
Yeah.
One tiny little tip that I can kind of give you. I don't know how useful it is because I tried it and I didn't really like it, but it gives you an option. Is on the 3X especially, you can turn down the brightness of the reticle all the way down till it's black. So you can see it against the snow really well, but you can't see it indoors very well. So I don't know if you want to try that on the, when you're having those outdoor fights, but it's a possibility you could try. The green, I think, doesn't really help you either. So you have the change between a green color or a red color reticle. The green is just equally as bad, I think. I think mine is on green right now because you can see it against the brown. of the grass, but it's really tricky. It's really tricky. The 3X is darker in Moonlight, obviously, because it's always got that stupid tint, and I've got to force myself to like it, but I never will. Suck it, Jamie. It's very hard to see through the 3X and Moonlight. I don't know about you guys.
I don't mind it as much. I feel like maybe I've gotten used to it. I think it's definitely a better scope for the bright.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know why it's darker. It does seem darker. Ever since you pointed it out, it's definitely been in my head that it feels darker than everything.
Yeah. I can't use it. It's just a mental thing at this point.
Yeah. Make sure that, this is mostly just a reminder for me to take breaks on Vikendi when it's not Moonlight, because seriously, my eyes get... I get a headache if I play it for too long. So go look at something that's not a screen like every hour or something.
Yeah, I use Flux, which is a program one you can install on your computer to make it a little less, blue light, a little more yellow tint to your monitor, so that helps me. I don't play the games without it because it really does hurt my eyes after a while.
I don't really have issues like that. I just get motion sick when I play it.
Just keep a trash can next to you.
Yep.
Well, I'd rather have my issues then.
However, I will add that Apex does not do that to my I didn't get sick.
Transition. This fucking guy.
Boom!
This is your... can we call it a care package within the PCP, kind of?
We'll talk Apex, baby.
Let's
talk about you and me.
This is Apex Legends, a brand new BR game. Came out of nowhere, dropped a fully feature-rich, free-to-play, polished game out of nowhere, and it's actually a lot of fun. And
Dan fucking hates it.
That's not true. However, some people don't like it. A couple people on our Discord are not liking it, but
some people are grumpy, though.
Some people are grumpy.
Not calling them specifically grumpy, but we've got grumpy people.
And some people are wrong. Not everyone can be right. I'm sorry.
It's a totally different style of game. It is not a PUBG clone. No, it's just not the same. It's a BR for sure, but it does not feel like you're playing PUBG when you're playing it.
No,
not at all.
No,
I thought it played a little bit like COD Blops. I don't know about you, Cody, because we played that a little bit.
I do think it played a little bit like it in terms of being smooth and fast, but other than that, not as much. Yeah, even the guns felt a little different than COD Blops did.
Mm-hmm. If it feels to me, I didn't play COD Blops, but it feels more like Fortnite, but without the building aspect. Obviously, there's color tiered loot, not the guns, but the attachments range from common to whatever rare or something like that. Orange, common to orange, I think is the classic classification for it. But yeah, I really liked it. The fights felt quick, not that they were over quickly, but you had to be on your feet. Kind of felt like old shooters like Halo or whatever in that aspect.
Which obviously made me awful. It was very, very fast. Every engagement started 0 to 100 just like that.
Yeah, the speed of the fights was just nuts, and my sensitivity was out of whack. I couldn't track people very well. I was just having a really rough go of it. But it's really good aim training for PUBG. Because you gotta stick someone and follow them, and they're jumping around, and in some cases what was your character? You could warp.
Wraith.
You could fly
you
away.
You can drop portals.
I don't know what it was doing.
So all the characters have abilities. There's a Q, a passive, and an ultimate. So the Q for Wraith let her go invisible for a short period of time, and you can travel around the battlefield. So it must be a different dimension, because I don't know if I was taking damage either. I'm not sure. I would need to play with it more. But basically, you can use it to wrap around an opponent or get from cover to cover without being super obvious about it. You're not completely invisible. You can kind of track people while it's happening. Mm-hmm. But it's a pretty good, safe way to move around the battlefield. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was really useful to have because, while you two were trying to figure out what your characters were doing, I was just moving around the battlefield invisible and sneak up behind people with shotguns and then gun them down. It was fun.
Yeah, I picked the one that I had she was the healer, and so like obviously I needed that one because I would like she carries around this like floating robot that can just heal you if you're standing next to it.
Yeah.
So I would always just keep that one.
Just do it for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I used it for you once, Dan.
Yeah, it worked really well.
Yeah.
I kind of like also that there's not the stupid, like, you can only heal up to 75%, and then you have to use a boost after that. There's none of that. Yeah. There's shields, which is like an extra thing.
It's more like armor
that
you're equipping. Well, shields, actually, because there is armor.
Right.
So, yeah, we'll go with what you said originally, shields.
But you have to pick up armor to have a shield is the other thing I noticed. Like you can't just use the shield module. You have to have the armor first to use it.
One of the coolest things that I thought was like when you're downed, you could use a push shield. So like you have like a very small amount of like, can't touch me. I know you shot me, but you can't touch me.
Yeah, it does help. And the revive mechanics, fantastic. How you can bring someone back who's already finished off is like mind-blowing to me.
Okay, and
I would never want that.
It makes
in PUBG.
More sense.
Keep that in mind.
Oh yeah, totally. But it makes more sense. Like the revive isn't. I'm not just like sticking my hand on your head and like petting you a little bit, right, to get you back in the field. Yeah. Like you're okay, buddy. Come on, shake it off, champ. You flip your friend over and like stab them in a heart with like an EpiPen type thing. Yeah. You're like jabbing them with adrenaline.
It's straight up Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. So that's pretty neat. One thing, the other thing that I really like about the game is the ping system, which isn't like the latency that you have. The ping system is like you click middle mouse button to indicate an area, and if you click and hold, there's a bunch of different indicators that you can use, like there's activity there, or spotted an enemy, or I'm going here, let's go this way, or something like that. And then in response, your teammates can ping that marker to acknowledge it without using voice chat or anything. So I think that it allows for a lot of in-game communication without actually having to be on mic all the time.
Yes, that's huge. And that's big because of their user base. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and say that like free-to-play games probably played a little bit more by younger people or people who don't want to use their mic so much or maybe don't have a mic. I think that's I just made a really broad assumption, but I think there's
a
some
lower
accuracy
barrier
to that.
Entry.
Yeah, exactly. And you might not even have a microphone or a headset. So that allows you to play and be equally effective with someone who does.
That's really just a good marketing tool.
And it's a fantastic tool. The way they built the game with that in mind is really cool. I've not seen another game do that. The gunplay, how did we feel about the gunplay?
I liked it. It feels more sci-fi, like future shooter than like realistic type stuff. Mm-hmm. But I was a fan. Carbines are cool. There are fire modes, by the way, in case anyone didn't know. You can switch that with the default key is B, I believe.
I thought you had to pick up a like fire selector module for your weapon to do that. Is that right? I'm not positive.
I don't know. I swear I switched it at the beginning of some matches, and I didn't pick up a mod like that. Maybe some guns have it like inherently, and some you need to unlock it. Mm-hmm. But there is, I've seen the mod, and I have also switched it on guns, so I'm not sure what the rule is there.
Gotcha. Cody, what did you feel about like the guns compared to COD Blops Blackout?
Slightly less confusing, and there was an easy way to tell what it did and what kind of weapon it was.
The ammo, yeah.
It was hard to adjust when you die so fast. So I wanted to be able to shoot way more than I was allowed to shoot, which was not the same in Call of Duty, which obviously is not the same in PUBG, but it was almost like the matches went for a long time, but I didn't get to shoot a whole lot because when the fights are more sporadic and far apart. Mm-hmm. So the jury's still out a bit, but I liked the featured weapons because there were there 3, 3, 3, and 3?
I think so, yeah.
Somewhere around there.
There wasn't 20 weapons right off the bat for one specific type. It was nice to have
and the attachments, like, it would just say, like, nah, you got a better one already, man. Like, don't pick this up. You're good.
Mm-hmm. That and the ones that you have in your inventory that don't go on any of your guns have like the no sign on it, which is super helpful when learning the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely. And going back to the inventory, like you said, for Fortnite, it's very similar to that. I just got it, though. It made more sense to me because, like, you pick up the backpack, and now I have a few more slots. Now I can put some more stuff in there. And you can easily drop the things you don't need because they have a big red X in them. It made a lot of sense. It was very easy, and I liked it because PUBG is very much an inventory management game, as much as it is a BR shooter survival game. And I never found myself thinking about my inventory as much in this game because it would auto equip everything. Everything would always be reloaded. I would know what ammo is for what gun because it's colored and obvious. It just worked, which was nice for a change to just have the smoothness and the low bar of entry.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really cool. The other really cool aspect of it, I think, is the loot indicators. I think, Cody, you noticed that it was saying what area you enter when you walk into it, and it tells you like the tiers of loot. It'll say like medium loot or something like that, right?
Like high. It essentially said like you got a bunch of good stuff in here. Like, you're not going to find a whole lot.
Yeah, so you kind of know what to expect. And going along with that, in the plane, before you jump out, well, it's on the map basically. So you open the map and there's an indicator on the map for like high tier loot or high concentration of loot in this section of the map, which means, and it's dynamic. It changes every time you log in or every time you jump into the map, right?
Yeah.
Which makes hot drops not a static thing. It's not going to be
crazy.
one place
Yeah.
that is like for sure guaranteed hot drop. I mean, there probably will be like areas that are more likely to be hot drops, but you can have these kind of shifting loot zones depending on the current game, and you can drop into a new area that previously wasn't a hot drop and now it is. Pretty neat. Pretty freaking neat.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Very cool. Is there fall damage?
Jury's out. Cody?
Hey guys, there is not fall damage.
Anyone who watched our stream would get that.
There is not fall damage.
I think it could be a little overpowered, potentially.
Well, there's some powers that let you like. Wasn't there like a grapple on the robot dude?
The robot guy.
The robot dude's got a grapple.
Yeah. So I think you could get into some like crazy position. We actually got caught out by somebody on this giant building. It was a robot. He got up there by just like grappling up there. It was completely surprising to us, which adds some cool dynamics to the map. But it might be a little tough to deal with people.
I mean, I would assume there's going to be a massive balance in the next 10 days or so, right?
Maybe not balance, but they're going to be continuously adding new characters, and they'll probably realize that, some of the decisions they made were the wrong ones. And so I guess you're right. There will be some balance, but I don't think it's going to be this huge, like, change everything type patch. I feel like they tested this for a long time.
Yeah.
But there's no way to predict what meta is going to be when you actually release it, is my point.
Yes,
totally.
Completely.
You're going to start to see people utilizing certain things, and in order to stay competitive the way they want to, they're going to have to say, "Oh, we're going to have to change this before we add in new characters," because they will. And you're going to have to be a big fan of this game and play it a lot to stay up to snuff.
Yeah. That was one of the points I wanted to make too.
To Overwatch.
Very, because now it's like impossible for me to get into Overwatch.
I would never start to play Overwatch now.
Too many characters. Too much established meta to understand. The same thing with Counter-Strike. I mean, there's not characters or heroes, but there is a very established economy meta that you have to understand.
Also, do you fake or do you not now? I don't know if you fake or not when you're defusing the bomb.
I don't know. Because pros don't fake is what I hear.
In my heyday, pros never fake.
Yeah.
And that was true for so long.
Yeah.
Counter-Strike global offensive, man,
Yeah. So I'm seeing this point from Jammy, which is interesting. He says, I wonder if everything will either be freemium or under a monthly sub like Xbox Game Pass. When you no longer complete a game, the commercial model needs to change from paying $50 up front. Well, if it's anything like Overwatch, it's going to be skins, right?
Yeah.
That's that, and it's just skins. People invest in skins. It's the same with Fortnite, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they saw these games come out before them, and that was like the proof of concept that you can survive off skins if your gameplay is fun enough.
Yeah, and because it's like polished up front, just like how Fortnite came out, right? You just drop a game in somebody's lap and you're like, oh shit, this works and it feels good. Like that's a great way to keep people coming back.
It's like the mobile game model.
Characters. You always need to buy new skins if they're always adding new characters.
Yep. And new weapons.
They have the loot drops very similar to Overwatch as well. Like you get experience from playing rounds, you unlock a new loot box. You open the loot box, it drops like 3 things. One's like a weapon skin. It depends. It's random. But like you get a weapon skin, you get like a data card for your player character card, which we can talk about in a second. You get like a character skin or like a voice dialogue line, something like that. So you can equip all of these just right off the bat. I was getting like blues and rares and stuff. And it was I was like already customizing my characters, like, oh, I want this one, or like, haha, that voice line, that kind of thing. So
you're so clever, Ray.
You.
So yeah, I never purchased loot boxes in Overwatch, but I know so many people I played with just bought like, 10, 15, $25 worth. That's like the cost of the game, right? Like you don't need to pay that much for it. So it's pretty cool. I think the model works. We'll see how stable the player base is. I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah. The one thing I do worry about sometimes with free-to-play games are cheaters, because you're not going to ban an account. Well, you can ban accounts, but then someone will just download the game for free. So I do worry about that sometimes. It remains to be seen. I think this runs on the Source engine I think we were talking about, which is pretty crazy in and of itself. That engine came out in 2004 when Half-Life 2 came out, like forever ago.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're still using it is pretty wild, but
there have been updates to the engine to make it, competitive for sure. But yeah, it's really cool. If it wasn't clear, this is built from like the Titanfall people. This is Titanfall. They developed this game using like basically things that they had like lying around the shop, like they slapped this game together with all of the information they had from Titanfall and Titanfall 2 in order to make this gorgeous game.
Yeah. And it does look pretty damn good for running on an engine that's pretty old. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So you want to run through some positives and some negatives real quick?
Do it, yeah.
Maybe some tips?
Jace.
All right. So just to go through this pretty quickly, not a BR clone, right? Or sorry, not a PUBG clone.
Not
right?
even
Or
close.
not a PUBG killer, right?
Yeah.
No. This is this falls more into the Fortnite or even Overwatch category, and even those games aren't going to go away because of this game. This is just a new group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the PUBG clone or like PUBG killer is way more of a like almost like just a term that people use to get hype around something rather than it actually meaning anything. Like there's not a PUBG killer. People who play in PUBG like might like this game, but it is not the same game as PUBG
Not
at all.
Not at all.
Doesn't give you the same thrill, not the same gameplay, not the same style. Nah.
Yeah, no. And I like PUBG Killer because that's like, that shows you who the top dog is. Like PUBG is number one. PUBG's king.
Fuck yeah.
That's why we're not going to be an Apex podcast anytime soon.
Yeah, so this feels less of like a realistic strategy shooter and more just like sci-fi VR to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Super polished, full release game. Didn't have much hit registry issues that I noticed or desync. Probably because the map and the player count is relatively low for a BR. It's a 60-player map, and I'd probably say the map is comparable to the Fortnite map.
Yeah, maybe a little bigger, but I also think that 60, like, it could be just right, or it might be just a little too few, but like just barely.
I feel like it's okay for the map size, but yeah, it's something that we'll see based on. I think the mid game was like maybe a slightly slower than
it was, yeah.
Than like we might have like wanted.
Like it was almost Erangel slow. Mid game Erangel.
There's no vehicles. I think that's a big reason.
Totally. And we're still like learning the map and where people go and what like, the meat and potatoes of the game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The ults are fun. As of now, I didn't see any that seemed super overpowered. I saw a couple used in battle, but I don't think they're really understood to the full extent. I think it's a super interesting dynamic that will come from this. Yeah. but it'll take a little bit for that to develop. There will be some early adopters, and then we'll see like a fully fleshed out meta later.
Yeah, it's so early to know. People are just trying to shoot each other at this point. Like even me, I was forgetting about my ultimate powers and just trying to use my guns. So I think I'll figure that out as I progress and play more, that there's different ways to approach different situations depending on what hero you're using.
Sure.
Yeah. I do think it was. I was just going to take this one, John, if you don't mind, because this is my favorite.
No, I want to take. No, I'm joking.
No.
You can revive actually dead teammates, which I think is actually pretty cool for this style of game.
Yeah.
Like you can revive them when they're downed, but you can also bring them back to the play when they are dead. And the cool thing about it is you have literally nothing.
Yeah. It's
So,
balanced in that way.
We are fighting in a building. I die on the first floor. Dan is alive on the fourth floor. He has to come down and get my banner.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially call in an air thing that drops me back onto the playing field, and I have nothing. I have to go and find a weapon.
Yeah.
So
there are these like green stations across the map where you put the Cody's information in, and then it'll drop him right there.
That was pretty cool because it's not a guarantee just because you got my banner that you're going to be able to get me back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
And
think
obviously-
another game has done that.
No,
seen
this seems really fresh, and it's a cool new take on it. Also, like it works kind of in the I don't know if lore is the right way to put it, but kind of like the style of game. Like this is all more gladiatorial fight than like survival BR. Like in PUBG, it feels like end of the world type of scenario, and you're just trying to live or something, or like forced prisoner work or something like that. But this is like you're competing against these other legendary people to earn like this heroic title type of thing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. But yeah, you can still revive teammates who are down but not out, like knock down people. You get a decent timer for it. Oh, also there's a timer on the banner, right? Isn't that how that works?
Yeah.
It's like 80 or 90 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, it's a decent amount of time. It's like just enough because you have to run a decent way usually.
But also,
to find
Dan
a
got
banner.
caught up in a firefight too, so he had to finish that fight
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then come and get our banners.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then run 200 meters to the drop point to bring you back.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we were like in between loot, so like we couldn't just bring Cody back. It was like we had to go find somewhere to loot, and then he had nothing, was trying to punch people to death. Like,
Right.
I think it's a balanced, cool new mechanic that we haven't seen in a BR. But anyway, one of my favorite is the new parachuting mechanic that they have.
Yeah.
You get a role called Jump Master. So the last person to pick heroes, which we'll go into at the start of a game, will be the designated Jump Master, which means as long as all the teammates agree, they will follow that player to wherever they jump. So you jump out kind of like in a delta triangle, location, just like a squat triangle, and the Jump Master will be in the center, can drag everybody to whatever jump location they want to be at. And then when everyone hits the ground, you can kind of scatter and pick up loot. So that I think is a really cool system. The dropping feels fluid and gets really fast towards the end. It's like kind of a good way to like get revved up, almost like the end of a roller coaster or something, or the drop of a roller coaster. But yeah, it's a cool mechanic.
Very good. Very good. There's a lot here, man. I've just realized we've been talking about this for about a half an hour now.
It's
And-
really been a half hour.
Yeah. And like you guys can tell, we're pretty excited about this. This is a really sweet game, and we're enjoying it. We're going to play
Okay.
more going forward too. I think we can touch on a couple negatives real quick if you want.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
I think we can like slam out the rest of these positives just like real quick. We don't have to dive
Sure,
into
let's
them,
do
but,
that.
Like stuff that we talked about, replayability with the different legends that you play as the different
For sure.
characters. They all have different abilities, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Tiered loot, so the attachments for guns, you have different ranges of tiers, but the guns are all baseline the same, so
I
you
love
don't
that.
get like completely outmatched with somebody who finds like a blue gun or whatever.
Yep.
That doesn't exist.
Even between semi-automatics, automatics, and SMGs, I think they were all pretty balanced, not just in that specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, someone
Early
in
game,
Discord
it
was
feels
saying
like
the wingman pistol is just freaking really powerful. So it gives you
seems
the
strong.
idea that some of the pistols are still good, are still viable, even late game, and it caters to your playstyle, however you want to play it.
So that's cool because it uses the heavy ammo too, and it's only a 6-round shot. So it's not like you have tons of shots to hit these heavy hits, you have to be good with that pistol to make it. It seems balanced anyway.
Yeah.
Seems like because of the small map size, there are people nearby wherever you drop, although we did talk about the lull in mid game. Skins are like Overwatch. They're not really rare. It's just like a nice to have. You get a loot crate every level or something like that. Like we said, it's not a PUBG killer. We'll see, because it's a new game, we'll see people interested in BR go try this out, but it's not going to remove like the stable player base that we have from PUBG.
Yeah.
Ping system is really sick. We went over that. Oh, you want to?
I just want to say real quick, like we saw so many PUBG or killers or clones come out, like Ring of Elysium and like the Realm Royale, and there was a couple other ones. I can't remember the name of them right now, but like they never grabbed my attention like this game did, and I think it's because this one is free to play that helped, because there was no cost of entry. But I was very surprised by just overall how much fun this game was and how it felt like a AAA game for free. Yeah. Like I felt like I was making out as a consumer. I was like, damn, this is pretty sweet. So it's not the same as the other early access clones that we've seen. It's not early access. That's the key.
Right. Totally. Not early access. Super cool. Yep. Other couple of points. Ping system, as we briefly touched on, you can indicate a lot of things without using voice. Really helpful. Highly concentrated loot, randomized spawn on the map. That was that circle I was talking about that creates a dynamic hot drop basically every time you spawn into the map. So I think all those are cool positives about this game.
Yeah, I would agree. Agree with all counts.
Negatives!
Okay, this is something, I know I've talked a lot, but this is something that actually happened to me. We were in a fight, and I think Cody went down and Dano was like engaging an enemy like a little ways away, and then went down, and I could not see where the enemy was because of the friendly player markers hovering above their body, like, hey, I'm down, come revive me, that kind of thing, was blocking my view of the enemy. And that felt really bad. That was probably the worst part about this game, is like there's a lot of things on the screen that could clutter or block your vision, and having your players who have been downed in a close range fight while I'm long range is really frustrating.
Yeah, the UI is very cluttered. I had the same problem.
All over the place.
Yep. Another negative you had down here is that ammo seems to be hit or miss. Early game can be a crapshoot, but guessing as we learn the spawns for gear, it will definitely be easier to work with.
Yeah, because like we were just kind of meandering around, right, and trying to figure out where the loot was actually going to be, and it wasn't in places that you would necessarily think that it should be, and it wasn't ever really always guns. And when you open the cache, which we haven't really talked a whole lot about the caches, like those, they were okay.
I had some good ones, and I had some garbage trash ones.
I had something that was like, a helmet, a level, or a regular basic helmet. I already have that. Why would I need that?
Yeah.
Yep. Three-person squads is a big change from what we're used to. I have not seen another game do 3-person. 4 seems to be the normal. And I think it was okay for... they had to have tested this with the other characters. Like 4 maybe just seemed like too much, too many different variables, too many different powers available in the same game.
Yeah, I think the balance goes out.
Yeah, so I kind of like 3-person, but it hurts us because we're kind of a 4-person group.
Yeah, here's what I like about 3-person. When you're 1v4, that is like a mountain to climb. When you're 1v3, if you can get that one down, then it's a 1v2, and it just makes it all the easier. So I think this actually helps for those like clutch scenarios.
Yep.
And we actually had a few times where like there'd be enemies who were low on health, and I would come in like from looting a different location and clean up a team after you two had been downed, which was like, that would be hard as shit to do on PUBG. Like, but coming into this game fresh, I was able to do it a couple of times, and obviously they were new too. But it's just, I think 3-person squads is easier to clean up.
Yeah, that's a. Really
I don't think the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, if you can count on your teammates for 1 kill, then that leaves you the 1v2. Like that's so huge. And that's why I feel so good in PUBG, because when I play duos, I feel like I can 1v2 people a lot easier than, playing in squads where there's just so many angles to get shot from.
It's hard to 1v4 for sure. And I think it'll actually be hard to 1v3, especially later, but for right now people aren't as they don't know the game as well.
Yeah. So in sum,
one more.
Numbers
popping up. So you get the Fortnite damage numbers, and it's color coded based on they have an armor, or they have a shield up, or they're taking actual health damage. That's cool. However, the numbers popping up does block a little line of sight stuff, and can, because everybody has a different player model, it might be a little bit tough to figure out where their head is and where to shoot them.
Yeah. Yep, I saw that too.
Parting thoughts. I think it's a lot of fun. That's why we just spent 35 minutes on it. It's a game that's all over our Discord right now. We made a room for it. People are asking to play with each other. I think it's a very fun take on the BR genre. I don't think it's a PUBG killer. I don't know if it's going to be as popular as PUBG or Fortnite. It's hard to know, because all of these games that have come out in the past usually are flash in the pan kind of things. They'll get streamers to play them, and they'll be all the rage for a couple weeks, and then they'll just disappear. For some reason, this game I think is going to last a little bit longer than the last ones we've had, but I don't know for sure. It's hard to say. The free-to-play model is going to keep it going, I think, but it just depends on where they take it with updates, because we saw what they did to Fortnite, and we saw the shopping carts and the jump pads and all the game changing, all the meta changing patches that they had really turned off some of the older players. So don't know how it's going to turn out, but the one thing that I will say is I'm going to play it some more, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. And I also say that one of the reasons why I want to play this more than Blackout is because I don't know for sure, but there's probably not going to be an Apex 2 out next year like there would be for Blackout. So I don't have to relearn everything. It's worth the investment. That's a big selling point.
Time investment.
Exactly. I can get really good with the certain sniper rifles and know that that's going to be the sniper rifle that I use for the next, a couple of years of playing this game, instead of knowing that next year I'll have a completely different set of weapons and skills to relearn. So that's a big selling point for me. And obviously it's free, so there's no reason why you shouldn't try it out.
My takeaway is that this game, I think this is the right timing for this game. I think that PUBG is on a bit of an upswing. Fortnite's on a tiny bit of a downswing in terms of gaining player base. Anybody who's playing Fortnite is already playing Fortnite. And this game is going to find a group of people that sort of meet in the middle, want to try out something that's fun and exciting and has a learning curve. I think this is a good time for a game like this.
Yeah, I think they started out on the right foot. There was no hype surrounding this because it came out of nowhere, right? So it already is exceeding expectations, because there were literally no expectations going into it.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of room to expand upon the world and the funness of it. And I think it's a really good blend of the casualness of Fortnite. Not that there aren't hardcore players, but being able to jump in and play a BR style game. I think having that ease in it is existing inside Apex, and it's not as unforgiving as PUBG, I guess.
Makes sense.
Love it. Can I make that hotline bling? Do we have any hotlines to bling?
Oh, I don't know.
That was me typing out and make that hotline bling.
Oh, okay.
You have new messages.
This is HOTDROP, where we bring you premier PUBG analysis and the apex of drops. I'm Dano.
You sound like Daniel from ratings.com when he does TV reviews. Go Google this right now. Right now. DanielRatings.com. Hi, I'm Daniel from Ratings.com.
This is Hot Drop, where we bring you premier PUBG analysis and the apex of drops. I'm Daniel.
I couldn't get through.
I don't know if I was Southern or a pilot.
What?
All right. This is the one. We got this.
All right. Flam.
What happened to our butt drops?
Where'd you put the butt drops, Dan? I'm in charge. We've already established my intuition is unmatched.
He just sounds correct. I don't understand.
I could eat more saltines than 9 other people in this room.
I'm Daniel.
I guess. I mean, that makes me Cody or John. We don't know.
I think I'm John, so that
Fuck
makes me
you,
Cody.
John.
Oh, gosh. We stream Monday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern at Twitch TV. I jumped to the underscores.
I'm Daniel. I'm Daniel. I can't be Daniel this episode.
All right, do it again.
This is the one.
They're going in.
This is Hot Drop, where we bring you premiere PUBG.
I'm fine with it. Keep going.
This is Hot Drop, where we bring you premiere PUBG analysis and the apex of drops. I'm Dano.
I'm your co-pilot, Cody.
And I'm a passenger, John.
Hey! Backseat John is what we call him.
We stream Monday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv hot drop. Fuck!
I'll do it one more time.
You can be Daniel, but I just won't interrupt and fuck John this time.
No fucking John.
This episode brought to you by
E-I-O-U. Sorry. I couldn't help myself. All right, we're doing this for real this time?
Yeah.